Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a very special, very bonus episode of The Table with our Gen Z queen, Carley Thorne.
Is that a Z? From the vault. This is an episode from the vault.
This is very much Taylor's version. Carley, thank you
Yes.
so much for agreeing to do this because I had an
Thank you for asking me.
impulse, and I was taught in theater school to follow the impulse,
Yes.
which was I just felt like I was taking a deep dive into red,
the sweater. I mean, the
into
scarf.
red.
The scarf.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. I never said I was a prop comic, and now we know why.
Yeah.
Into Red, Taylor's version, and I know that you are also a Swiftie, and I just
Yes.
felt like I needed to just like have a special episode among friends. Like it's kind of like a dreary, rainy day.
We have our teas.
You have a tea, I have my scarf, and like we just need to get into Red, Taylor's version, The Table.
I agree.
Okay. Wow.
I think, and here's what I just want to say that I'm so happy because I feel like when I was growing up, and I've always been a Swiftie, like I think I was more of a since Fearless. I wasn't the first album I wasn't super fan, but then after Fearless, I've been on the bandwagon my whole life.
Yeah.
And now it's cool to like Taylor Swift. There is because there's a long period where we had to hide in the shadows. Like we had to pretend being like, oh, she's my guilty pleasure. You know,
Yeah.
but now
like it was cool. Like the song came on and you knew all the words and you were kind of just like, oh, it's just because it's on the radio. But like,
you're like,
we have very much
so
come out of the closet. And it's funny because like she did have like mainstream legitimacy. Like she was still winning awards. But again, we had like Kanye being like, you don't deserve this.
And just like she was very critically acclaimed. And we see that now because the way that everyone views her is like the work speaks for itself. But there was something, probably want to say it's probably misogyny, but you know, who's to say? Yeah. But it was very much like embarrassing and cringe. As the kids would say, chuggy. Like there was something very like you had to hide it. And like if somebody was like, what's your guilty pleasure? Or like something like that, you'd have to be like, oh, it's Taylor Swift. Like I remember like never being able to say that. And now it's like, I know in my heart and soul, she will be my number one Spotify artist when Wrapped comes around. I'm not ashamed, like not. She was like kind of not cool, but like first couple albums were like regular pop star, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you get past 89, she gets like, she's definitely like deeply uncool in like the Reputation and Lover era. And now the folklore renaissance has made her cool again, but we've been here the whole time. We have known forever.
We've just been waiting for everyone else to, and I do have to say, like, I have to, of course, acknowledge like all of the people that paved the way for me.
Yes.
Like, you know, there are those quiet moments where someone is like, I fucking love Taylor Swift. And you're like, wait, like,
really?
So do I. Like,
you?
And I'm like,
yeah,
wow. Like So I do have to like give I have to give props to those people that like through the first Taylor's version at Stonewall, like that let me live here in this.
We are standing on the backs of them these days. Because there was people that I knew that would always even loudly just be like, I love Taylor Swift. And I remember being like, oh my God.
We're allowed to do that? Like
wait, I do too, but like, can we say that?
Because it's like, I knew we were allowed to like Beyonce, but I'm like, I didn't know we were also allowed to like Taylor Swift. And there's room for everyone.
There is. Thumbnail.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, for anyone new to the table, we do a couple of... we do a couple of we're gonna do a little check-in first.
Yes, body check-in, pronouns, how we're doing, and then
Yes. I am very much he, him, and very much Sue, me. For anyone new to the table, we usually have a couple of people from the week that are at our table. We have a couple of people who are at the kids' table, the people we are not feeling. We are going to do a very special Red Taylor's version edition of the table. So, Carly, I'd love for you to kick us off with like, is there a song? Is there a lyric? Is there a moment? What's the first thing at your table from
I mean, okay,
Taylor's
so I'm
version?
gonna say the basic answer, the one that we're all waiting for. But I've been on this train since day one.
Mhm.
Over the summer, I actually did. There's a song ranker where you can go through and you compare all of Taylor Swift's songs, and then it'll give you a ranking of like how you feel about every song. That makes sense. All of her songs. You should do it. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And I had All Too Well a number one then. I have All Too Well now. I do. Here's the thing. I think that the original and the 10-minute version both have their place.
Okay.
There does have to be some credit at my adult table given to the lyric. You kept me like a secret and I kept you like an oath. And also, I'll get older, but your girlfriends will stay my age.
I have a
Powerful.
question. I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
In that lyric to you, I hold space for both possibilities. Is she
Okay.
saying your girlfriend stay my age then or stay my age now? Like I'm getting older. If you had given me the opportunity to become a 30-year-old as you become a 40 whatever year old, like that is still what you wanted. Like you wanted
I never
me
considered that.
now, or are you saying he's still dating 21 year
So
olds?
I had originally interpreted it as the kind of he's dating 21-year-olds, which
Yeah.
we love. We're like 21-year-old rights, whatever. I'm in a relationship with somebody who's older than me, not by as much as Jake Gyllenhaal and Taylor Swift, but there is a type of man, trigger warning, who they'd like to date a young woman so they can't be challenged. And the idea, I had originally
Mm,
interpreted it as like, I'm going to get older and I'm going to mature, and all of these issues in our relationship were because I was young, and yet
mm.
you still choose to date young women because you're scared. But I do like that your girlfriends stay my age. I like your interpretation as well,
Thank you.
but I'd put that at my table.
Okay.
Of course, it's like, I mean, that's so obvious. I mean, we have of course watched the All Too Well short film as well. You've seen that. What are your
Yes.
thoughts?
Okay. So first of all, Twinny Swift.
Scarf.
Um, I also obviously have All Too Well the 10-minute version at my table.
Of course.
Okay, so the short film, um, uh, here's the thing. I have been the younger woman, so I have like a problematic, probably relationship with the idea of I like when Taylor Swift was dating Jake Gyllenhaal, I speak from her, like where I'm like, get it. Like
I know.
he was so hot. Like
I
it's like
know.
that like
My
older guy, like he was like
That's one
ripped.
of
That
my
was like
most toxic opinions. 100%. I was saying this to someone this week. There is something think inherently sexy about a huge age gap in a relationship where the man is older. And here's why. Because the older a man gets, the sadder they become. Like they get more broken with time. And that is sexy to me. Like that is sexy to me, the brokenness. And I agree. Like I actually loved in the short film how they like because in my brain Sadie Sink is like fucking 12 on Stranger Things, right? So like seeing that age difference is, get it, but also shocking. Like it is shocking. And like those fight scenes, you're like, oh my
yes.
god, he's horrible. Like imagine you're dating a 20-year-old and you're like, you sound fucking crazy right now. You're stupid. Like he's fucked. Jake
Yes.
Gyllenhaal is probably in witness protection right now, right? Like he's fucked.
Okay, but then like again, like I never said I was a role model. Like when their fight was like, you dropped my hand, that's where
Yeah,
I'm like, you are 21. Cause like
I know.
I very much
Yeah.
was hearing this and I was like, I think my love language is like physical distance. Like
Mhm.
I first of all, I have had multiple partners tell me that I push them away from hugs
Love that.
because
Love
I
that for you.
because I love a quick hug. I love a boop boo, woo woo woo. Keep it
We're
pushing.
done. Yeah.
When we get into the realm of a long hug, that stresses me out because I have no idea when it's going to end. And I don't
Okay.
know, like, I'm like, what is the norm? Do we do 5, 10 seconds? And then I'm just there being like,
And it's a lot. It's a lot of intimacy.
so then I want to be like, I'm done, which apparently, how's that for consent, everyone? People are like, why are you saying no to this long hug? And they get upset about it.
Yeah.
So the hand drop, I'm a little bit like, yeah, I talk with my hands. Don't hold them down.
I know. And it is that thing too that I think you kind of see from the end of that. And the end of the film is like the cinema, the movie, all of that. When he's like watching her, I did think it was an actual, because you listen to All Too Well and I love it. It is angry and it is very much like you are in the wrong, I'm right. And I think that the film kind of gave us the current Taylor Swift's view on that of like, yeah, that was fucked. But
Yeah.
we were both fucked. And you're hurt by this as well. And that's true because I
Yes.
do agree. Like,
Did our love affair maim you too? Okay. So Carly is very much frozen, mouth agaped, um, uh, which is as good a time as any for me, I think, to get my shine. Quick shout
I'm
out to the.
back.
Oh, there she
Okay.
is. Okay,
That was bad. What happened?
you
Okay.
literally like. I think that I moved you into like a gap in space and time. Like you went like,
Okay.
and then it was like,
Done. We're over.
yeah.
Um,
I believe
but
because I shouted out the lyric, "Did our love affair maim you too?"
yes. Because it's true. And I also think I mean, if we're gonna talk about attachment styles, I am definitely avoidant. So
Great.
it's the same thing of like, is he being an ass? Yeah. And also maybe the reason I think he's an ass so much is because I hate seeing myself in that of just being like, I'm talking to my friends. I'm just talking to my friends. You're being weird and quiet. And I get that. Because you
Shut
know
up.
when you
Yes.
are planning a hang and you know you have to bring someone else in, which I already hate. Because I in my brain, I'm like, we have the squad. I don't want to bring anyone else in. And then you have to kind of like babysit them the whole night. And then the prospect of them being mad at me for not doing a good enough job when I didn't want to do this anyway is aggravating.
Yeah.
But also then don't
Someone.
date a 20-year-old. Like, just don't date a 20-year-old then.
There is something. I was like on a bit of a tear for a while where when I felt like people would suffer in silence, where like then someone will after the fact be like, you didn't include me or you didn't whatever. And I have been known to say the phrase, take an active role in your own life.
Yeah,
Like,
agency.
so like because it's like if I'm going to a hang, I'm like, I know you're catching up with your friends, but here we
Aren't they gonna
go.
love me? Yeah,
Yeah.
showtime, baby.
It's
All the world's a
lights up
stage,
on
and the
Washington
men and women
Heights
are
up.
simply lights up on Washington Heights.
I like that when I drape the scarf like this, it just looks like it. My name is
Yeah,
Sue.
you love Sue
Um,
Sylvester.
honestly, kind of.
I know,
Um,
same. But
uh,
yes, amazing,
so
iconic. What if you had to pick a lyric from All Too Well 10-minute version to sit at the table next to the song?
it has always been for me, um, wide-eyed gaze
Mm.
because I always just think of her with 3 gay men behind her who are all like this.
No, like,
Your
did you
sweet,
drop her hand? Did
your
you drop her
sweet
hand?
disposition, my wide-eyed gaze. So that has always been my like ride or die lyric.
Fave.
I for a while I was like gonna plan. This was like before a pandemic happened, like a Taylor Swift theme party. And I still have in my Amazon cart a thing of gigantic eyes because I was again gonna go as like the wide-eyed gaze. Yeah, so it's that lyric
That's
for me.
creativity.
What
I
about
like
yours?
that. I mean, there's a lot from the new one I like, but the one that I always love because it's so angry, and it's from the original as well. Just back before you lost the one real thing you've ever known.
You've ever
Like,
known?
imagine you've ever known. Like, imagine you break up with someone and you're like, okay, we're chill. And then they write a song and you're like, I'm sorry. What?
Fuck my
The one
drag.
real thing I've ever known?
Not your parents.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Not
your
Maggie.
sister, no, parents, no, none of your friends. Actually, like, it's just so fucking rude. I love it. Like, the anger there. If somebody wrote that about me, I'd be like, oh my
Yes.
God.
I will have to say, okay, sometimes because I love Taylor Swift's lyrics, but sometimes there's like a bit of a kerklunka that I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't love it, but I feel like I
of
just have
course.
to like get on board with it. So on the new version, a little baby seat at the kids
Kerkalunka.
table was the like it was like you toss the keys to me, fuck the
Yes.
patriarchy.
Yeah,
And I
I
was
agree.
like it was like it kind of, in
I
like
agree.
in grade 8 someone has a poem and they're like really trying to cram something into that last stanza or whatever. Kind
Yeah.
of felt like that. Also because in my mind, this is what kind of made me laugh, is he was like, she's like, you toss the car keys to me. This is obvious, like Swifties don't come for me. It's not the, like, this is not the full quote, but toss the car keys to me. So I'm imagining he is saying, he's like, fuck the patriarchy, you can drive. This is
I
this
think that's
is
right. I think that's what it is.
like, he's like, fuck the patriarchy, tosses the
You can
keys, and
drive,
then
darling.
it goes keychain on the ground. So she'd missed it. So to me, that's funny. He's like, he is empowering her, and then she's like,
And she goes, "Ow!"
sports.
Yeah, eat. It like goes whoop, and then she grabs it afterwards.
She
Like,
goes,
you know what? Like, it's so
ah!
much. It just like hits her. Just goes like the hands don't even come up. That's funny. It really reminds me of, and this is going to be a deep cut for our non-comedians in the house.
Okay.
There is a certain kind of like very commercial sketch that like you would do at like the Second City or whatever. Love you guys. I would write this sketch for you if you wanted to hire me. But it's very much to just like appease the white women in the crowd. Or like it'll be a sketch about something else. It'll be a sketch where it's like two dolphins having a threesome or whatever. Like it's just not anything. But then one of them will be like, women get the job done. And then the audience is like, yeah,
Yeah. Or like,
like,
you know
yeah.
what? Maybe two boy dolphins can be in love.
Yeah. And everyone's like, yeah.
They're like, I learned something today.
Yeah, it's like people like it's just like allowing the audience to virtue signal to themselves, being like, oh, me, I'm just the president. And everyone's like, yes, yeah. Like and that's my favorite thing ever because it's always so clunkily
And it's
snuck
so
in there and
it's
it's
so
empty.
base. Like, it's like a base thing where we're like, actually, human rights are important.
Yeah, it's never a stance. It's never like, let's unpack Israel and Palestine. It's like women, they can drive. Yeah.
Fuck the patriarchy. Keychain.
But
on
I
the
still
ground.
love her. Swifties don't come. Swifties don't come for us, please. You are scary, and we are Swifties. We are.
Yeah.
Do you want to add another song to your what else is sitting at your table?
Okay. So at my table is, hold on, I need to like get to the right part. Because I've realized, especially from Taylor Swift, because like other Swifties like very much like dig right into the lyrics. They're like, this is the evolution of this thought from this.
Yeah, or like there's themes of like
themes,
this comes
whatever.
from this is from Red, but then it continues over to Lover.
I am
Yes.
so stupid. Like I
know this to be true.
I have full lyric blindness. Like I'm kind of like, I remember when I was in Rome and they were playing
Brag.
Bad Romance from Lady Gaga and everyone was just making the sounds. Like they didn't know the words, but they were just like, because they're just like, oh, I know the sound, but like I don't know. Like,
yeah, because they don't know English. Is that what you're saying?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing of like I listen to a lot of K-pop and I'm like,
and that makes them wrong.
Bop, bop, you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, it's like it's just weird because English is the language of business internationally. So, no, but like I'll listen to a lot of K-pop and then like their English part, you'll be like, yeah, lovesick girls, like you're like, I know those.
Have you ever wondered where I'm like, when I'm not at home, should I be doing an impression of what I think the Korean part is? I don't know if it lands in public.
The ethical implications of that.
Sound off in the comments though. Like,
yeah, let us know. Okay, the lyric.
Okay. So, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, so there is a lyric from Red that
Mhm.
oh my god, 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 oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Everyone don't come for me.
You know
Okay.
what I think Spotify needs to get on board with? The thing that Apple Music has where you can look at all the lyrics to every song. Oh my god, my dog. Wait, what? Oh, you're on Apple Music.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were on Spotify and I was about to be like, "What do you mean?"
Okay.
The
So
last, by the way, I opened up my phone to look up lyrics, and the last I searched just Jeff Probst, uh, host of Survivor, the show. Anyways,
do you know how
moving
many
on.
times I have typed in Jeff Probst dick? Because there's
Have you
like a
seen it?
weird, yeah, there's like a weird old like digital camera picture of his big old dick.
Okay, wait, I
Um,
found it on Reddit. Not safe for work. Yes, I'm over 18. Just let me see this the host of Survivor's cock, please, so I can go back to talking about Red Taylor's version. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I
I don't know
know.
what I thought it was gonna be. Okay. But anyways, back to Red.
Okay, so um, there is a part of Red from the
Okay.
original version where I 100% thought Taylor Swift was saying fighting with him is like genocide. Now, I was
Obviously,
I was
that's not true.
worried that in the new version I would not hear that because it makes me laugh that she is like, again, I imagine someone who is like 20 being like fighting with him is like
Yeah.
genocide, where you're like,
Yeah.
whoa,
You're like, everyone's
okay.
like, it's real, but I know you're going. Okay, let's listen.
So I need you to hear this too.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes to get the full effect.
So maybe it's genocidal crossword, but
Oh,
definitely
it's when you hear, so it's, yeah, fighting with him is like trying to solve a crossword, but you hear fighting with him is like genocide.
genocidal crossword. Yeah. So we're gonna hear it again.
Okay,
I'm
one
gonna
more
I'm
time,
gonna go a
everyone.
line before.
Oh my god, you can hear it if you listen for it. It's one of those things, if you listen for it, you can hear it.
Which is the Swifty way. Like it's like, yeah, genocidal
That's an Easter
crossword.
egg. That's an Easter egg. Taylor's next album is gonna be about genocide.
Yeah. And that's why it's red, because she's calm anyway.
Yes.
So I was just happy that that was still there.
Yeah.
Because again, like it wasn't until I kind of it's more often when I'm singing the song with other people. Like if like a song comes on and then I realize that I always go genocidal crossword.
And they're
Um,
like,
but there isn't, the thing that's broken in my brain is that there isn't a part of my brain that goes, wait, that doesn't make sense. Like, and that
"Why
happens
would
a
she say
lot.
that?"
Yeah,
Okay.
that happens a lot for me with Taylor Swift lyrics. And I know that a lot of Swifties will like look them up, which is a good
Yeah,
strategy for
so I
learning.
do, I love Red. It's one of those things, like, I don't care so much about the lyrics in that one, but, like, she has such a skill of, like, I am a person who, like, I feel like in my life now, I'm in a pretty stable place, like, not mentally, but, like,
Oh,
in my relation never mentally.
just physically, you're like, I am firm.
I'm firm, but, like, my relationships are good, so there's no
Yeah.
reason for me to, like, really like, a song about, like, having a tumultuous love affair with, like, a guy who's wild, it shouldn't affect me, but then I'm like, "Losing it was blue like a," like, so the way that she can, like,
Yes.
rile you up.
You're so right. It's like you like I feel like I dated Jake Gyllenhaal and got like
Yes.
had something like taken away from me that I thought
Yeah,
was more than he ever did, and like all of that. Like my
yeah,
a lot of my like longer term relationships have been very humdrum, like except for the one that I blew up with like the meth, but like anyway, it's like
yes.
for the most part super run of the mill.
Yeah, like you're
minus the
not.
whole meth detour, but
Yeah, and we've all been there.
yeah.
Um,
Loving him was
was
meth. Yeah.
meth.
Also, I just need to quickly say, anyone out there, you will have a great time anytime you listen to Red if you also decide to sing it as Cher. Because if you're like, loving him was railed, it's so fun. It is so fun. I do it all
So
the
everyone,
time.
we have homework tonight. Okay.
Yeah. Send us your
Yeah.
videos of you doing loving him was
It was
railed.
red. You went a little into almost like Hank Williams, like old country singer.
Railed.
Red. Um, yeah, she's like very good at making her specific experiences feel universal, even though in any relationship I've ever been in, again, it's been very like pretty dry, not in a bad way, but just like actually like healthy and normal. And any instance of drama has been caused by me. Like I'm the toxic one, right? So I shouldn't listen to this and be like, yeah, when it's like if it was about anyone, I would be the I would be the Jake Gyllenhaal. But she just makes you be like, "Fuck, let's go." Same with, like, this when in quarantine, when Folklore and Evermore came out, I was like, "I don't have a husband, but I am gonna listen to Ivy and be like, I'm in a torrid love affair and I'm cheating on my husband." Like, it she just make I'm like, "Yes, I am married and I'm gonna cheat on my husband." Like, "Thank you, Taylor Swift."
Yeah. I mean, I definitely was in a relationship that was like dissolving as Folklore
Oh,
came
that's
out.
traumatic. That's traumatic.
And but I remember literally I was like doing the dishes and listening to This Is Me Trying, and I was like,
Oh,
this
that's
is me.
trauma.
Like I was like, look, I'm not just a dirty, dirty, disgusting pig.
Do you wanna know, like, if I do a show now
Yeah.
and I feel like I did bad, or I'm in like a social situation. Because I think the pandemic has like fucked my social anxiety. I used to not really feel bad at all, but there's like been a lot of moments recently where I've been like, everyone hates me and they don't. Like there's no reason for them to, but I've been experiencing that a lot. Yeah, there's a reason, but it's weird for them to do it. I'm
Yes.
adorable.
Don't let it
Um,
show.
yeah. And like I'll get in the Uber home and I'll like
Mhm.
put my headphones in and I'll just like
Yeah.
listen to Mirrorball like on repeat. And, like, that's on the nose, like, that's on the nose, but, like, just being like, "I'm a mirror ball, bitch." Oh my god, that song
Does
goes
it
hard.
empower you, or are you like, I'll
No,
do
it's
like,
sad.
okay, yeah,
No, it's like
yeah.
I'm a shell of a human. The reason I do comedy and I like to perform is because I'm actually much more comfortable being a fake version of myself than ever being the real version of myself. And then even just like reckoning with like being around people who I perceive to be like more charismatic and more authentic and all of that. And then I like listen to it and I'm like, I'm shit.
Mhm.
I'm and but I love that. I love just like the being like, we're all the same. Like the fact that that's universal is actually comforting in a way, being like, so many people love this song because we all feel like shit. And then she's like, when that rodeo clown's bridge comes in, I'm like, get you
Yes.
looking at me.
It's like the way that I will, again, like the movie in my mind that's
Yeah.
playing, and I'm like, I literally will start to like try to make substitutions. I'm like, would it work for this relationship maybe, or this moment? And then I'm kind of like, no, kind of not really. Then I kind of like have to
Yeah.
recast it, and then I'm just like, or just what if I dated Jake Gyllenhaal? Like it's kind of
Yes.
like I have to very
And
much
you
like,
cast, like, the people in your life in certain
yes,
roles in yeah, of course, and it's always someone like, I'll go through phases where I'll be like, "I'm really favoring this cast of characters at the moment." But then, like, I'm Ryan Murphy, we're doing a serialized American Horror Story, so then, some people get carried over, but sometimes the new cast comes in.
yes,
That's what I'm feeling.
yeah. Okay, so now what is who's next at, or what is
Okay.
next?
I would put next there's a couple that I do enjoy. I think at the table we have to put Nothing New featuring Phoebe Bridgers. I'm a sad woman.
Yeah.
The lyric in that song, how can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22 is violence against women, quite frankly. Like I actually think it's violence against women. I hate it. I don't like it. And I thought it was really interesting, like having her and Phoebe Bridgers do it and her whole thing of being like, one day something new is going to come along and they're gonna talk about how I paved the way and how I taught them how to do this, and I'm gonna be so, like, happy towards them and then, like, cry on the way home. And I'm like, "Yes," and then having, like, Taylor Swift and Phoebe Bridgers do it. Although, here's another question, and then we'll go back to this. Eventually, we're gonna have to get a featuring Olivia Rodrigo because she loves Olivia Rodrigo.
Mhm.
Is that gonna be a 1989 Taylor's version? Like,
Oh.
because that's gonna happen. Like, for all, not only is like Olivia Rodrigo like killing it and people would listen to it, she like gives her advice and stuff, you know?
Yeah, like, I feel like I feel like nothing new. How old is Phoebe Bridgers?
I think she's 24.
Okay.
She's
Like,
like young, but not you like Olivia Rodrigo young, which is like traumatizing to me.
cause like, the way again, like, being 30 whatever, thank you
26.
yeah, being just turning 21, and, thank you so much to the person who commented on our last episode being like, "You both seem like, 'Hi, I'm old.'" I think they wrote, "No offense."
Well, offense taken. Not to me, of course, because I'm young and beautiful, but that is rude.
Yes, but benefit of being hashtag "Hi, I'm old"
Hashtag I'm old. Yeah.
is like that's what's like so good. Like red is kind of like like I mean obviously everything in our lives is like before folklore and after, but
Yeah.
like that red was my like, oh my god, yes, bitch.
Mhm.
So now having it come back again where you're like you kind of get to relive all of those feelings
Yeah.
and but some of it is still the same and you're like yeah like I like god some of that was so chaotic when I was that age but like it was also like fun and exciting and like 22 like it's like
Yeah. I have
you
22 privilege
you
because
do
it came out and now I'm finally 22 and I'm like, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
and that was like getting to like be like at a pre and being like we actually are
Oh my god!
okay
Who
but
is Taylor Swift anyway? Ew.
yes okay, yeah, nothing new for sure. Definitely sad girl anthem.
Yes.
Um, I am going to what was my last one? I'm gonna throw in slow motion. It was
Wow.
like slow motion. It just like is giving
That's a
me,
big choice. That's a big swing.
yeah, it is giving me that like big drama strings like T Swift hasn't done like a big chorus, kind of like that
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
minute. Uh,
It's very fearless almost. Like it's like the big like the instruments are swelling like it's a big
just
song
like
if that
that
makes sense. Yeah.
classic, like it's like just like pop fucking feelings.
Yeah.
Um, and I love it. And I also, again, have to say, because someone else was like, I was talking to someone about the album and they were like, oh my God, because like Jake Gyllenhaal didn't go to her party. And this is
Yeah.
where I would love if I started to have like a second thought instead of just like, oh, so what I imagined was because there's a lyric in slow motion where she was like, and everyone's gathered around. Like it's like he hasn't shown up, right?
Yeah.
She's there. The friends in the bathroom, probably doing coke. We're
Yeah.
like,
I know anything about Hollywood.
we're like, they're like, where is he? I thought he was coming.
I know, and that's me in this storyline. I'm like, no, 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 you don't. He's fucked. He's
Yeah,
fucked. And then he shows up, and I'm like, oh my god, hi.
yeah. Cutest couple ever. Oh no, no, I'll take it
Mhm.
for you. No, one of just you
Mom
guys.
and dad. And then I'm like, I
And
never liked him. I never
yeah,
liked him.
no, 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 no.
Never
And then
liked
they get back
him.
together, and you're like,
Oh, you're like, no, he's
I was,
changed.
yeah.
He's changed.
You,
Something
I
has
can.
happened. You
He's really
fixed him.
trying. I can. Yeah, it's
People deserve second chances. Who are we if we don't give second? And then they break up again, and I'm like, people never change.
yeah.
And I just enable my
So
friends.
So there's a line where she's like, and I'm standing there, like everyone's looking at me,
Okay.
singing, and he's not there, singing happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Now, I heard singing happy birthday to you. So I'm like,
It's Jake Gyllenhaal's birthday.
it's
And
okay. It
he's
is
not
Jake
there.
Gyllenhaal's birthday. He's not there. And they're like, well, we have this cake. So Taylor,
do
we're
it.
just going to sing it to you and like send him the video. And
I love that.
that did feel traumatizing. But again,
Oh
I'm
my
glad because I
God.
was just kind of like, I heard it and I was like, weird. And I'm glad that then I realized they're talking about, no, the song, Happy
Happy
Birthday
birthday
to
to
You.
you. Yeah.
So it would be that one.
I love that you're lyrically challenged.
I am.
That's okay though. Takes all sizes to go around.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now
I'm gonna say
I
my last one because you
okay,
said
yeah,
3.
yeah.
I've said 2.
Okay, okay.
I do think there's a couple honorable mentions, of course,
Mhm.
of like I thought that like the new mix of I Knew You Were Trouble was like really good. Like I think a lot of the production on these like work really well. Like I didn't really like I Knew You Were Trouble on the first album, and I felt like this one they kind of rocked it up a bit. I liked it.
Okay.
Also, 22, iconic.
Oh.
But at my table, number 3 is Begin Again.
Carley Thorne. That's my
What?
I was gonna put it at my table, and then I was just like, I don't know if I'm just gonna be bored. I fucking love that
Love
song.
that song.
I love that
Oh,
song so much. I've like told friends that it's like when they started dating someone, I'm like, it's kind of like Begin Again, but like I only think it's about me. And like,
yeah. Oh,
ah,
that song is so good. Yeah, and it's like I have no jokes.
no,
I
that's
have
why I did. And I
nothing
was
to
like, I'm
say.
not going to be funny about it because I'm just like Taylor Swift doing a falling in love ballad.
After being
Like,
hurt, like she has to like relearn to love herself. And here's the real kicker, because again, the movie of my life, whatever, right? Um, it's important to note I have a savior complex, pretty
okay.
bad. Um, every person in my life has to have has to have had some damage. Like I need you to be a damaged person to connect.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen Squid Game. I have the same personality type as the main character, who's just like
Uh,
dragging any lamo along to the end of Squid Game, like just taking any ass, picking a girl, picking somebody with like one hand, just dragging that crew along to the end. Like that's who I am.
You are very much the girl who gets paired with the other one and is just like, I don't really care to play the game. Kill me. Nothing matters.
Yeah. Hey, can I get shot in the head? Here, we'll like play a game, and the end game ends with me getting shot in the head. If
Like you're
that's
like,
okay with
no,
you
I
guys.
want to play the game to like feel something right before I very much.
Get shot in the brain. So when I listen to Begin Again,
Mhm.
I don't listen to it as if I am Taylor Swift. And this is actually like we might have to cut this out because this is going to be psychotic. Like I'm going to sound like a narcissist.
Okay.
I imagine it as somebody has been hurt and then they go on a
They're
date
saying
with
about
me
you.
and I heal them. And that shit gets me going. I'm like, I'm healing them. I'm reminding them how great they can be. That's my shit. Because that song is just beautiful. I think I remember one time I was reading a Rolling Stones article. Brag. I read articles. But it was ranking like
Full
all
thing.
of
Trial
they
subscription.
were like, yeah, I have a description. It's the print magazine. They were like listing all of her songs, like critically, like there was a music reviewer who was doing it, and that was number one. And I agree, it's just like so well done and beautiful and stripped down. Like there doesn't need to be anything there. It just goes
You
hard.
throw your head back laughing like a
Like a little
little kid.
kid. And like I think it's strange that you think I'm funny because he never did. Oh my god.
Yes.
It's great. No
Okay.
jokes. Nothing. I can't think anything funny to say. It's just a great song.
And I definitely like, I feel like men that I've dated when I've had like multiple moments where like okay, hear me out. Where I feel like I fall in love with someone when they talk about them as a kid. Hear me out.
Yes,
Hear
no,
me out.
no. I know what you say. It makes it sound like you want a fucking kid, but it's The
No.
vulnerability.
It is the vulnerability.
Yes.
It is like someone talking about like their disappointments, their feelings,
Yeah.
their sadness when they are like this perfect like little like undamaged thing where you're like, "Oh my god, I just want to like go back and like take care of that child."
Agree.
And like
Because
so
also
when
in adult life, people often like posture. And
yes.
even like someone like me, deeply traumatized, like will pretend to kind of have as a coping mechanism, oftentimes people will like pretend to have it all together. But then when you discuss things that are happening as a child, it's very much just like, I was hurt. I was hurt and rejected, and everyone's hurt and everyone's rejected. But it's like,
But
this
mainly
is a
me.
child, but mainly me. And it was more important and real when it happened to me as opposed to everyone else. But it's like, this is a child and they're vulnerable and there's not a lot of posturing. I agree. I think that, yeah,
So just to, like, you throw your head back laughing like a little kid, and it's like when you, like, see that little glimmer of, this I don't know, there's something about
it's
that to me,
real. Yeah.
and, like and when I fucking scream it in my apartment and I add I don't know why I always add, like, a little fucking kid, like, I'm just like, "Ah!" Like,
Or
it's, like,
just the
not
like,
a banger, but somehow I'm like,
it is
"Ah!"
a banger. It is. Yeah. And just like the when we walked down the block to my car and I almost brought him up. But then you start to talk about the movies that your family watches every single
Every
Christmas.
single
Just like the
Christmas.
sweetness of being like, I was gonna bring up the
Which
trauma
weird.
and
Yeah,
the
don't.
bad thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
first date, maybe don't. But then being like, you're just talking about like this nice, real thing between you and your family. Oh my God. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Like that shit gets me heart horny. You know what I mean? It's like even talking about this, like my heart gets like warm. And that's what I try to do because this is a separate thing, but I'm trying one of my end of years resolution is to extend more compassion to straight men because I don't. And I to do that I like kind of try to remind myself because I do find oftentimes there's a when I can find like straight men in moments of like deep compassion to each other where they're just like hanging out. Like even like the existence of like a lot of sports games, it's just like men needing to connect and be together and it's sweet to me.
Oh, I have such a deeply problematic relationship with even when I see things of Jake Gyllenhaal, like I'm like, I would betray all of my female friends who he had hurt to like be the gay sidekick because he's like that cool, hot
Yeah.
guy. And I could
Yeah.
just be like, and me too. Like
Yeah,
just
ripping a guitar solo. Yeah, and like back to the begin again thing. Like, what I like to like just pick any straight man that you like even in your life, and but you're like really intimidated by them, right? You're like, I don't know if they like me, you know that kind of thing. I'll get in my head and be like, fuck him, because I perceive that they don't like me and it's not true. And then I just imagine them as a child being hurt, and I'm like, oh, that
yes.
hurts me. And it's good to
Yeah.
do in comedy too, because everyone in comedy is deeply traumatized, like truly
Agreed.
fucked deeply.
Which and little segue, if we're talking about throwing your head back like a little kid, let's get into the kids table.
Yes. Okay. Do you want to go first? What song's at your kids' table?
Okay. I'm starting with a bit of a doozy. And
I'm so worried.
and at my kids'
I because
table
I have one that I think this might be the one that I have that
at
I was
my
like,
kids'
did I
table
do this?
is
Is
Ronan.
Ron? Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that, and then I was like, I don't know if I
Hear
can
me out.
say this.
Hear me out.
I
And I'm glad that
agree.
you here's the thing. Um
It's
uh
sad. He died. It's sad. I'm
okay.
not saying it's not
Also,
sad.
I can almost this sweater's getting very hot, or this
Yeah.
scarf. I can almost plead out like insanity because of my lyrical blindness. I actually didn't really know what this song was about. I was just like boring because I thought here's what I heard. I was like, "Oh god, she wrote a song about her brother." Like I thought this was like a like I really love my brother song,
My brother.
and it was giving me for my Britney army out there, there's a song that Britney has called My Baby. Um and it starts with the line tiny hands, and that's all you'll ever hear of it because that you hear those two words and then you skip it. It's like it's such a skip song that like
Yeah.
when I heard
Yeah.
the first line of Ronan, I was like skip. Now, I
Yeah.
realize the message is very sweet. There was like a fan that died. I have to
A
say,
little boy died of cancer.
yes, I have to
It's
say
sad.
that it is sad. The only humor that I find in it is the idea of a record label gay being like, it's like she wants to put it on Red, the original version 10 years ago. And he's like, it's not a it's not a bop. Like I love, like, oh my God, break
Yeah,
my
like
heart. But like
sad. No, sad, but like,
maybe, I don't know, in 10 years you can re-release it. And then like
yeah,
she did. And I still say Love and Light, skip.
yeah,
It's a skip.
yeah, yeah. Here's what I will say. I I'm worried to say this. I think there's a couple of skips on this album.
Go
There's a
off.
lot of slowies. There's a lot of ones that I'm just like, I get it. To quote Vanessa Hudgens when COVID-19 canceled Coachella, I get it. I respect it. That's my favorite video of
But
all time. When she goes, people are gonna die, and that's like sad, but also inevitable. Maybe I shouldn't be doing then she goes, maybe I shouldn't be doing this on Instagram Live, and then turns it off. And she was right. And
good
it's my favorite video
call.
that ever exists, but she
Yeah,
still
she
did
was
it
processing live.
as it was happening. So here's the thing. There's a couple here. I'm gonna first say, and I think this is gonna actually get me hate. I think Treacherous is at the kids' table, and that's because it's overrated for me. It's just like I saw Red in concert as a child
Oh,
with my
fuck
mom.
you.
And when she comes to Toronto, Patrick, we might have to go and just wild. But I just
Oh,
remember tears, just ugly sobbing.
scream
Um,
singing. Yeah.
next time, like, so it'll be like a bunch of children, and we'll be like, "When you throw your head back, laughing like a."
I would
Um,
be the person that accidentally Astro Worlds everyone. I'm gonna miss the cue and All Too Well will start and I'm just gonna rush with like just by myself. And they're gonna
you're
be
gonna
like
rush the stage at the Rogers Center. Like that means you're running a mile. Like you're running a mile in a stadium. You're running
to a
a
ballad.
football field. Yeah, you're
To a
running up
ballad
the.
to begin again.
um, I just remember it like okay, because this album has some bops, like truly.
Mhm.
And she was touring with Ed Sheeran when they were opening, so he did like the fucking whatever song that they sing. I can't remember, believe I'm not because I like that song a lot. But like great
Yeah.
concert. I think Shawn Mendes was opening for her too, maybe. I don't know, but like stacked. And
I would Jake Gyllenhaal, Shawn Mendes. That like
yeah, yeah, and
I'll
he'd
be
probably be
honest.
into it. It's giving Cher. Um Anyways, I just remember like it was like bop after bop, absolute banger, and then the concert comes to a screeching halt so she can fake walk on a tightrope and sing "This love is treacherous, but I like it." It's just like, and here's the thing: there's a couple like it's not a horrible song. It's not even the worst song on this album, but the reason it's so overhyped that I feel like we've all been sniffing glue, and I have
Yeah.
to say it's not that good.
Yeah. You know what? For me, I feel like that one is Stay, Stay, Stay.
Okay. I do like that song, but continue. It is a clunk. Like we're talking about clunkers. There's like I like that song and I've bopped to it because I think I have a nostalgic kind of attachment to it.
Yes.
But is it good? No. But is it a bop? Yes.
I know. It's like sometimes you're kind of like it is like fun. So if you're in the right mood, it's fun bad. If you're in the
It's
wrong
a
mood,
London boy. Like it truly is like,
oh my God, it's a Cornelia Street. Like it's like,
yeah.
yeah. Wait, I think that song's good actually.
Yeah, that shocked me. Cornelia Street is like a magnum opus.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I take that
There's
back.
like
I take that back.
Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Boy or whatever.
Or
London
no, it's
Boy.
it's Welcome to New York.
Oh, it is. Welcome. Taylor Swift wrote Welcome to New York just because she knew she could collect
And New York
royalties on
said
any
no.
movie. But like any movie that like takes place in New York now, she was like, I'm not writing the song because it's good. I'm writing the song because now every rom-com set in New York is gonna have this song in it until the end of time. And that's how I'm gonna pay off my mortgage on Holiday House. So thank you for that. But
I
it's
remember New York Magazine wrote like a think piece about
they're
like
like,
why
"No."
Welcome to New York sucks. It's like
It's
the
and it's
magazine
literally
of
what
New
we were
York.
talking about before of like the about the lyrics that are like fuck the patriarchy. It's like and boys and boys and boys can be with boys and girls can be with girls. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're all like, yeah, homie. But at that point in time, because this was before she had said for sure she wasn't a Republican, people were like, oh, she's letting us know.
Yeah. I I also have this is okay.
Hmm.
Hear me out. There I really loved this song back in the day. There was something about whether it was the new version, whether it was about anything. I didn't love We Are Never Getting Back Together. It's at my kids.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
like Taylor's version, and I'm gonna pinpoint a specific moment, which is
Okay.
her new line reading on the it's like,
So he
he
calls me up
calls
and
me
he's
and
like,
I'm
I
like,
still love
I
you.
still love you, and I didn't feel it from her. I didn't
That's
I didn't
interesting.
I didn't get what I wanted. I think again, because now she's like a 33-year-old woman,
It's not it's a different read.
where the read then is like a petulant it's like you're,
It's a
you know,
child.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
you're
like
childish. You're being
it's a
like,
parody of
"Ugh."
your own self almost of being like, because you do say that shit, but it feels
Like
realer.
ever. It's so
Yeah, we are
that.
never getting back together, like, ever.
Oops, I
Yeah, and
texted him. Yeah.
it's a little, cringy now is what you're saying.
So for me,
Okay,
that would maybe be the one song that I would betray Taylor and keep
and
the
listen.
original
Okay,
on.
that's tea. I
Yeah.
have on my kids' table, are you well versed in the, like, kind of vault tracks from this album?
Um, in that I've like I I mean the
Okay.
lyrics obviously not, but I would say we'll go with yeah. What do
Okay,
you
because I
hate?
have
What do you
2,
hate?
because there's okay, because I have at my kids' table 1 vault track and then 1 regular one.
Okay.
So the vault track that I didn't love is, um is the Run with featuring Ed Sheeran. I found it just like, whatever. But that's because for me, one of my deepest shames is that, like, I have been probably since day 1 an Ed Sheeran, like, fan, and that's so cringy.
Same.
Yeah, but yeah, like, when A-Team
Same,
came out,
same,
I was like,
same.
I've been saming, same," but, like, I love him, and I've been
Yes.
really disappointed in later years of his kind of turn more poppy turn. Like, can he write a bop? Yes, but when I was a fan of Ed Sheeran, it was very much like, "Indie, I'm different than
Like a
everyone
Lego
else." He's playing the
house.
guitar. Yes, Drunk, like, that shit
I
was
love
my
like it was
jam.
love in a photograph.
Yeah. Like, that
And he talks really fast. He's like, "Blah, blah, blah." He like gets a lot out, which Swift does too.
Yeah,
It's like
he
I'm
gets
gonna
some
go.
words in there.
Yeah.
And, like, but, like, that Plus and Multiply, those first 2 Ed Sheeran albums,
Hmm.
bop, obsessed. Then we get to, like, the Divide album, and
I
I
bailed.
there are, like, yeah, exactly, like, Shape of You, his pop songs, like, he knows how to write,
Yeah.
like, a bop. Even that new song that's like, "My bed having like, you're
Yeah.
like, I'm in an Uber and I'm bopping, but I'm not
Yes. Very
it's not
Uber.
very Uber. Like, it's like the same thing where, like, there was, like, that 6-month period where every time you got into
Uber
an
and
Uber, it was like,
Clunk.
Uber and Clock, my improv troupe. But you'd get in an Uber and then it'd be like, I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry. Like, God's Plan by Drake was playing in the Uber constantly. Ed Sheeran is like an
Yes.
Uber. It's 2 a.m. I'd like to be home now.
I'm enjoying this Uber, but I'm not gonna go home and download the song.
No.
It will never be on
And
my
yeah,
phone, but I'm
exactly. But
enjoying
I'm
it.
happy it's playing. I'm
Yeah.
happy it's playing on the radio. So I have been in recent years like not a huge fan of the Ed Sheeran stuff, and that
Okay.
almost it feels like a deeper insult to me as a former fan because his earlier stuff was so good, and now it feels so watered down, and like he just wants to like
Mm,
cash his little paycheck and go. So when I
right.
saw like I really liked Everything Has Changed on the first record because that was again in the Ed Sheeran phase, like, yes, I
Yeah.
love this. And I actually like it on the album too, the Taylor's version. I like that. So when I saw that there was another Ed Sheeran song, I was like, yes, I'm gonna get like an old school Ed Sheeran song acoustic with Taylor Swift. And it's just the same. Like it's just like a hook, which is fine, but it's like Ed Sheeran can do a good hook with like "Don't" or whatever, like "Don't fuck with my love." Like he can do a really good
Right.
hook. This is just like them on the guitar being like, "Run like a criminal." Like it's just not anything, you know? Like I don't want if I'm gonna listen to like a hip hoppy R&B song, like I'm not turning to the likes of Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran to give me that. It's the same thing with like Endgame from Reputation. I'm like, and at least the Reputation songs kind of bop in like a spin class way. This is just like a nothing. I think it could have just been a really good if they just did like a very slow love song kind of thing, you know?
That is I think that is some of the danger with like with bonus tracks is you're like
Yeah.
it's like I mentioned this to you before. I'm like sometimes you're like, oh, this is kind of like that other song that like was
Mhm.
great. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
this is the first draft of that other song. Or like
Yeah, you
you
wrote
then
2 songs and then you were like, "Which one do we put on the album?" And you put Everything Has Changed on the album, and now you're like, "And we'll put Run as a bonus track."
and your bitchy gay friend said, well, not Ronan.
Snooze fest. Yeah.
um
And the one from Taylor's from Red that's on the album that I didn't and here's the thing, I don't believe this to the same extent that you felt with We Are Never Getting Back Together of I will go and listen to the original. But you sparked it, you inspired me because I do agree that I'm not a huge fan of the mixing on this as compared to the first one, and that is 22. Because here's the thing, we've talked about this before. I have 22 privilege. I feel like
okay.
I have been blessed by God. God has seen that, like, recently I've been down pretty bad, and the seasonal depression has hit me pretty hard. And God said, "You can have read Taylor's version now as a 22-year-old and like really feel the emotions she was feeling." And is it kind of
Which is good that you're sad, and then it's like, here's something to make you feel even more sad.
worse? Yeah. And I was like, "Oh my God, 22 is coming out when I'm 22. Let's go." And I found the same thing a little bit. Like the mixing is weird, and I love 22. Like it's a bop.
Okay.
But I also found, like, a lot of the, "Who's Taylor Swift anyway? Ew," and, like, "Let's dress up like hipsters." Like, it's so of its time that when you
Yeah,
listen to the
yep,
original, you're like, "Nostalgia," but when you listen to it modern, I almost find it hard to, like, turn off the part of your brain that realizes she's re-recording it because she wrote it when it's, like, weird when your
and you know
brain
what?
because
That's what
you
makes it
know.
hit when you're older. Like, that's
Yeah.
like, 22 was one of my favorites of, like, the re-records of just being like, I'm like,
Wow.
"This is entirely different." Like, I'm like, the first
Yeah.
version was just like was, like, celebratory and, just, like, the
Oh,
fuck
and
it
it's like
of it
the
all.
second is like a subversion. It's
The
like
second is reflective. It's
yeah,
also kind
okay.
of like you're like, "Oh my god, are we" or is it like, are we acting like we're 22 again? Like, it's like, "Oh, are we gonna, like, be
That I love
22
that.
tonight?" Like,
I love that. I
so
do like that. So that makes sense. It's like a
my
you'll
gay
get it when
ass
you're older.
just gave myself chills.
You're like, "Oh."
Wow, wow.
That is so funny.
Ugh,
Okay, so I feel
okay.
like we've done it. Can I ask one question before we wind down?
Yeah,
I want you to rank for me your top 3 Taylor Swift albums,
okay,
judgment free.
okay. Um,
And it's hard because when I've done this before with other people, the rule is would you do like a folklore slash evermore category? Would you include those as one or would you?
oh, you know what? I have mine. I'm gonna
Okay.
stick to it. I felt
Okay.
again the impulse.
And
Um,
follow that. Follow that thread. That's your improvisational instinct.
okay.
That's what that $4,000 you spent at Second City to do their conservatory program has gone to, and you need to follow that.
um, I remember like almost applying for the like I'm gay grant. Like it was like you could like maybe like or like it was like
Yeah.
oh you can like get and then I was like like I can afford this. Like I don't think this I should anyway.
Yeah.
Um so okay, so number one, uh Okay, I started to get stressed out basically being like, am I including Taylor's version or what? I'm just going to say
No, it doesn't matter. I can say don't do Taylor version, just do the songs, and that's fair, I think.
number 1 is Red.
Wow, okay.
Number 2, Folklore.
Okay.
And number 3, Speak Now.
That's scandalous to me. It's great. I mean, the thing is, it's a hard question, right?
The
Because
song Enchanted is
I
one of
was
my favorite
enchanted to
songs
me. Okay, so I
of
actually
all
had
time.
not recently I never listened to that song when it came out, and Emma DeCourt, shout out, told me to listen to it. And the "Please don't be in love with
Love with
someone
someone
else." I
else.
was like, "Yes!" Again, and truly like in a committed relationship, 3 years, normal, healthy, all of that. And I'm like, and now we're here. And now we're
And
here.
now we're here. And it was like, there I was again tonight. Like now I'm famous. I like always have to go to these events and like talk to
Ugh.
like managers and producers. And then it's
Mhm.
like everything stops and it's that scene in like whatever that fucking movie was that was like a
La La
fable
Land.
with you and McGregor, but
Oh.
also kind of La La Land, and also in some ways like
But
the
it's like
greatest
time
champion. All the
stops,
popcorn, like someone's like, yeah, and like the
and you're just like,
popcorn freezes, and I'm like moving it out of the way. And in my head, it's the funny thing is in my head, all of the love songs are about Jake Gyllenhaal and it's me and Jake Gyllenhaal fucks me. Like it's like
okay, I love
it's
that. You are the
so
agent of your own life, and you are the yep.
so Begin Again to me is actually about Jake Gyllenhaal. Controversial take.
I disagree, but it's a controversial take in that it's just incorrect. But I do appreciate the world is flat, and that's my controversial take, by
Yeah,
the way.
I'm saying I did my own research and it's very much
And
about
that's my
Jake Gyllenhaal.
take.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine,
Yes. Yes. Okay. Number 1.
Lover.
Go off. Good for
Yes,
you. Good for
yes.
you for saying that.
Number 2, it's hard. It goes back and forth between Folklore or Evermore.
Okay.
For a long time, it was Evermore. I was really on the train for a long time that Evermore was better than Folklore, but recently I've been in a Folklore is better than Evermore kind of state. So I have to do a combination because it changes day to day.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
third would be, I think it would be Fearless. The That's the Way I Love You. Again, in a healthy relationship, and like the tumultuous thing of just like, I'm with this guy and he's sensitive and sweet and he gets along with my parents, but I miss screaming and fighting and kissing in the rain and it's 3
Yeah.
a.m. and I'm cursing your name. Like
Okay.
that. And it has a lot of those, same with Fearless, like those choruses that are just like she pops off on, but Red is also up there, but she really goes hard on some of those choruses. And I
The
love that. But I
choruses,
am
and you just feel like you're like acting out. Like you're like, yeah,
truly.
I'm gonna fucking throw my phone
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
it's like I remember actually literally being like 21 and like being at my friend's apartment, and like one of her roommates was like very on edge, and her being like, fuck you don't listen to me, and smashing a plate, and then everyone being like, and then her cleaning it up, like her being like, sorry
Sorry.
guys. Like, it's that it's like
And
Taylor
that's the
Swift.
vibe.
Yeah, the Taylor Swift songs are smashing the plate, but like someone else cleans it up. Like it's just
Yeah, you
like,
just leave. It just cuts to the next scene like in a movie.
yeah,
Yes.
you just
But I
zip
am a
line out of there.
lover stan, like a
Okay.
Cornelia Street, a Cruel Summer. Like Cruel Summer might be up there for me as one of my all-time
Mm,
favorites. The like, um, I'm drunk in the back of the car and I cried like a
yeah.
baby coming home from the bar. And like the I love you, isn't that the worst thing you've ever heard? I just for me, I also think that that came out when I must have been like 19 something. So like you're feeling
Yeah.
very tumultuous. Like I was like, this is my life. Yes, or whatever,
Yes.
So a lot of those songs just like I feel like really encapsulate like the raw feelings to me of like being in love
That
and
was
not
my
wanting like
red.
anyone to know exactly, right? You're just like, ah! And even the
Yeah.
like death by a thousand cuts of like our songs, our films, united we stand. Like that shit goes hard. And my controversial take is that I think Paper Rings is one of the better songs on that album as well.
I love that song. It's really
Yeah.
sweet.
The Moon is
I think
High, like your friends were the night that we first met when Home tried to stalk you on the internet.
Even though I feel like I have kind of replaced it with invisible string.
That's a good one too.
Even though for a while I kind of thought that the line was like,
it's gonna be some nonsense. It's gonna be something that makes no sense.
was one tiny piece of corn brought me to you.
Why would that ever be a lyric? Make that make sense. That's so funny. Is that your favorite song off of Folklore?
No, this is me trying.
Oh, I'm a Mirabelle baddie.
Yeah.
Again. And then if we're gonna do Evermore, I'm Ivy all the way. I'm an Ivy bitch on Evermore. Again, and like in a healthy like nothing bad has ever happened to me, and I'm like, yes, my pain fits in the palm of your frozen hand. Like, yes.
Oh God.
And the idea, and another one of my toxic opinions, and I would never do it, and I haven't, and I don't think it's right in the real world, but in movies and film, like the prospect of cheating, I do find I find that sexy. It's not right, and I don't think it's right in life, but in a narrative with two other people, I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
it's the taboo of it all, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like way easier to do when you're doing math. So, then
this podcast is sponsored by meth, actually.
Math. I've been loving you for quite some time. Okay, well, as always, I very much I was like, Carley, like, we're doing bonus episode. Like, let's just do
30 minutes.
30-minute like rundown. I think I'm cutting out like 2 things. So we're probably coming in at just about an hour. But
for a podcast that's not mine.
I mean,
like, I'm not.
I don't stop it though. Like, I'm like, no, like these things need to be said.
We already hit like 50 minutes, and I was like, I love that. I respect that. What are your favorite Taylor Swift albums?
Yes. And that was a great question. And I thank you for that. I thank you for feeling this same need.
Just talk about our queen.
And you know what? Like, sure, if you've made it this long, you're probably just a friend of ours. But there are no bells and whistles.
If you've made it this far, anybody's made it this far, DM me on Instagram your favorite Taylor Swift song. And also if you think cheating is sexy, or if you think age gaps are sexy. DM
and I'm gonna need
us
you
on Instagram
to comment under one of my pictures, single piece of corn. And I will
know. That's the Easter egg. We'll know you watched.
We will know.
Single piece of corn led me to you.
Led me to you.
A single musical led me to you. Ooh.
So romantic.
Oh my God. Just a single piece of corn?
And that became a field. Like, it's like, okay, so
we've got to wrap it up.
Yes. Okay. So thank you so much for being on. This is our stripped down cozy. Cozy.
If anybody wants to send us those Taylor Swift cardigans as well, we would be open to it. They're like $400 now. I would accept.
I know. And a friend of mine bought one, and as she was doing it, she was like, do you want to get one too? And I was like, no. And now I'm like, I hate myself.
Yeah. When I first saw them, I was like, that's so corny. And now I'm like, I need it. I need it.
But
alas.
I love you. Thank you everyone for watching, and stay Swifty.
Stay Swifty. Bye.